many times we block ourselves and we use these words almost like we're in a trance, like we're sleepwalking through life, that we find ways to cancel out our dreams. And I think that but is a dream killer. That a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of places we would like to go, a lot of things we would like to experience, and we just stop at but, and we build a case. In fact, I was reading something the other day that talked about but. It says, but is an argument for our limitations. And when we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. See, but will cause you to procrastinate. But will cause you to hide out behind fear. But will cause you to come up with all type of excuses that you can validate your inaction and not acting on your dream. And right now, more than ever, people need to look for ways to live their dream. People need to look for ways to make it on their own. There is no such thing as job security. So instead of people living in fear, feeling stressed out, feeling powerless, feeling like victims, I think it should be a time that we need to begin to look at ways that we can become an active force in our own lives. Look at ways when we can decide to take charge of our own destiny. Look at ways when we can decide to design a life of substance and begin to truly live our dreams. And it's time for people to decide, I'm ready to get on with my life. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left. A guy named Bob May said this, don't let nobody turn you around. Do that right quick. Now, you know, a lot of people say, I'm going to live my life one day when things get right. When I get all my bills paid. When I get my feet on the ground. I say, what have you been walking on? See, there are no problem-free moments. A guy named Dimples had a record one time called, If It Ain't One Thing, It's Another. And I say, if it ain't one thing, it's 12 others. Always something there to build a case on why you can't move on, why you can't grow to the next level, why you can't begin to manifest your greatness, why you can't begin to live life on your terms. Always something there to block you, to keep you where you are, and keep you from beginning to develop your true greatness. Always some fear. How do we handle it? And I'm saying that if you've been hiding out behind but, if you've been using the fact that you don't have enough money or you don't have the education, take it head on. Go get the education. So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking so that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training that's required, that you're going to go get that training. So take it head on, begin to explore it. Here's something else. Decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you. That you're going to look at it and do just a little bit of it right now. When I decided to become a speaker, I didn't just quit my job and just ran out and say, I'm a motivational speaker. No. What I did was I decided to start looking at other people that were involved in the speaking profession. I volunteered to work with some speakers so that I could learn. Whatever you want to do, get your feet wet. Gain some experience doing some volunteer work in the area and find out whether or not this thing you want to do will fit for you. You've got at least 3 or 4 or 5 talents that you are not even aware of right now. And you'll never be aware of them unless you come outside your comfort zone and challenge yourself to develop your talents and abilities. To see what it is that you might have a knack for, that you haven't discovered as yet. See, most people never discover their true potential or their other talents and abilities because they figure that they're one-dimensional. And they don't try and stretch themselves and learn more. Guys say, he who learns the most earns the most. See, if you start learning more things and finding out and experimenting with your life and finding out what else fits for you, here's what you discover, that as you start working with it, and the more you do it, the more you realize other ideas coming to you, the more creative you can become. And then you say, wait a minute, this comes much more easily than I realized. I've developed a knack and a style for this. See, a guy said to me, he said, if you develop your gift, see, you like to talk, you like people. I said, yeah. He said, if you develop your gifts, he said, your gifts will take you a long ways in life. And ladies and gentlemen, because I decided, so I used to be a jack of all trades and master of none. I tried to do everything. I used to be a disc jockey, state representative, community activist, used to do public relations work, used to promote shows, used to be an MC in a nightclub, used to own a nightclub, the Pink Pussycat in Columbus, Ohio. I did everything, sold insurance, you name it, door-to-door salesman. I did it all. But finally, I decided to focus my energy. I looked at all my talents and abilities. I said, well, I got to just find what's my one thing, what's my trump card, what's the one thing that I do better than I do anything else. I said, well, I like to do a lot of things. I like to promote, I like to MC, I like to talk, I like being a disc jockey, program director, I like being a community activist, I enjoyed being a state legislator, but I had to find one thing, and I found that one thing. I decided I was going to develop myself as a speaker. And I started following other speakers around. I started doing research. I would read about Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Winston Churchill. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. Carlyle, truth crushed to earth, shall rise again. I would follow Dr. Otis Moss. I read what Dr. Martin Luther King said. He's the greatest preacher in the world. I used to follow him. Of Charles Adams out of Detroit, Michigan. Any great speakers, I would follow them and watch them. I'd be in the back just checking them out. Used to watch Billy Graham on television, turn the volume down to watch his hand movements because he's so expressive with his hands. I just became a student of the area that I wanted to become involved in. I would go to the motivational rallies, join the National Speakers Association, and watching all these guys, and then I would work and practice in other areas and developing my own style. Sometimes I would imitate other guys, and eventually what you'll begin to do is that you emerge and develop your own style as you do it and work with and work with and work with and work with it. And I say to you, that is so exciting. People that are working on their dreams and developing themselves, they have a different kind of walk. They have different kind of energy. You can tell in the tempo of their conversation, they walk differently. They have a lot of energy. They have a glow about them. People that aren't working on their dream, see, you can tell in how their movement, their body language, their voice conversation. They're real slow. Hey, I'll just call. I wasn't doing nothing. Thought I'd call you. Well, don't do that over here. They look at a lot of television. What's on? I don't know. I'm just looking. No, you got to watch this. You don't want to be like that. You want to actively be involved in creating life and making it exciting for you. See, if you watch the news all day and read what's happening in the newspaper, you'd be scared to come out your house. Am I right? You'd be scared around here. See, you got to keep the little boy and the little girl alive in you. See, most people don't smile. You know that? Just smile. Just smile sometimes. You know, even if you're homely, you look good when you smile. Why good? Isn't that something? Smile at a homely person on your right or left right quick. You know that? Now, if you look over there and they're already smiling, then you are the holy one. I'll just play it. I'm glad to be alive. And so, I feel like that. You know, Robert Elliott, who's the head of the cardiology department at the University of Nebraska, he suffered a massive heart attack. He was in the hospital for 3 months, and while there, he reflected on his life after this near-death experience. Because his mother and father, both of them had no history of heart failure. Both of them lived to be over 80. And he wrote something. In order to live a long life and be happy, he said, rule number one, don't sweat the small stuff. And rule number two, it's all small stuff. Isn't that real? That's real. See, if you're working on your dream, sure there are going to be times you're going to want to give up. Sure there'll be times in life will knock you down and catch you on the blind side. But the challenge is to hold on. And if you hold on tenaciously, I say the universe is on your side. A way will come out of nowhere. Someone will step forward and help you. Just a blessing. Who are you? I don't know, but thank you for coming. Hey. So don't allow the difficult and challenging times to demoralize you. I love to quote this guy, Charles Udall. He said, in life you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And I'm saying, in your hands, you have ideas. You have been given something to bring to the universe that was not here before you showed up. See, nobody, ladies and gentlemen, is going to give Les Brown's speech. This is my speech. The motivator from Detroit, it's my speech. You can't take Mamie's boy. You can't take my speech. No, you got to go get your own speech. You can't come up here and take my speech. No. So I'm saying to you, can nobody take your good? See, that which is meant for you has your name on it. No one can take your good from you. That's you. That work you've been given, that idea that you've been given, if you don't come out here with that idea, no one's going to bring your idea out here. Whatever you're sitting on, whatever idea you're working on, whatever passion, you got to be like Johnny Youngblood. He said, hey, I've got to live what's in me. And let me tell you, I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. Why? I got peace of mind. You can't even put a price tag on that. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but because my life means so much to me, and there are no guarantees in life, I'm going to live as much as I can each day. I'm going to do what I can where I am right now. And whatever I shared with you, I read a book called It Works If You Work It. That's what Johnny Coleman said. See, if you don't decide to act on your dream, if you don't decide to make a decision to live your life, if you don't decide to step into your fears, if you don't decide to say yes to your life, it will never work for you. The time for just wishing is past. Time for doing, that's the time right now. Time for acting on your dream, holding on courageously, as Winston Churchill said, and not lose enthusiasm. Time to face yourself and talk to yourself in the mirror. Time to look around and become creative and see what need or service that you can provide with high standards so that people will talk about you being a master at what you do because of the commitment of pride and excellence and high standards that you've set for yourself. It's time for you to look within yourself and decide that I'm in charge of my destiny. I'm in charge here. And I'm not going to allow anybody to turn me around. I am determined that I'm going to make it. And here's something, ladies and gentlemen. When you make it important, it's not a preference. It's not negotiable. It's a must. And when you decide, I'm going to do it, regardless of the opposition, regardless of the difficulties, I'm going to make this happen because it's important to me, I'm saying, the universe will yield to you, and life will never be the same again.